Everybody, it's finally here. It's time for the Roundabout episode. So today we're actually going to be talking about roundabouts, which in my opinion are one of the most um, overused and underused and polarizing, and it's a traffic tool that some people hate and some people love, and a lot of people will just throw it in like a band-aid when that's not necessarily the move. So I want to go over my philosophy today on roundabouts, where they work, where they don't work, a few different varieties, how to build them. Essentially, it's a roundabout just for a little. If you've never heard of a roundabout or you've never driven a roundabout, which is totally possible if you're in the U.S., there's a lot of places that just don't have them. But essentially, it's a road that goes in a circle. With right-hand traffic, it's a counterclockwise circle. With left-hand traffic, it's a clockwise circle. Um, but it goes around in a circle, and it reduces the conflict when compared to something like a four-way intersection. So like here, just for instance, I know there's a four-way intersection here. It's not nearly as busy as the roundabout up in this area, but we've got this little mock industrial area that I've whipped up. And you can see there's all kind of conflict here. There's no traffic light, so everybody's trying to fight their way through. Really, this could be done with just yields or something. So this can survive, but this entrance, it was totally backed up. There's a lot of industrial traffic coming off the highway. You might remember this from the Parklow episode, partial cloverleaf. We'll be using that build to prove the point here. But I want to build a couple different types of roundabouts and show you where I might use them. This is just one example of that. Like when you're coming off the highway, if there's a lot of issues there, maybe that deserves a roundabout. We'll see what happens. But this one is detailed up. It's a 2-lane road connected to 4 roads, and as I said a moment ago, it reduces the conflict by eliminating left-hand turns. So if you want to make this left, if you're coming in, this is the main road. If you're coming in from that direction, you can turn right here, go all the way around if you stay in that center lane, and it'll net you a left-hand turn. And it's the same from every angle, no matter which way you come in on. We've got 2-lane roads coming into a 2-lane roundabout. You can do it with 1 lane. It can be a single lane roundabout that's pretty common in very low traffic areas. 2 lanes when you really want to have kind of a way to for traffic to exit without inhibiting other traffic that's coming in. And 3 lanes is actually ideal if you have 4. If there are 4 roads connected to it at the cardinal directions, 1, 2, 3, 4. A 3-lane road would actually be slightly better for this, but I opted for a 2-lane because I detailed it up and I really liked how this one looked. You know, I thought it looked good. Shout out to Intersection Marking Tool, by the way. A lot of the examples that I have in this video are going to involve Intersection Marking Tool. But yeah, let's. This is our basic roundabout. Let's check out a couple different ways to make and implement roundabouts. So right now, if you're new to Skylines or you're new to building roads or you've never really wanted to build roads with precision or anything like that, you might be wondering how the roundabout became a perfect circle like this without plopping the stock roundabout interchange option, which is not ideal. Like this thing it takes up a ton of space and I don't even know what's going on with it. So they used a highway for this, and like it's kind of triangular in places and it's a little bit nasty. That's an example of like a high flow roundabout, but there's no finesse to it. There's no zazz, and that isn't going to plop in just anywhere. Like you're not going to, this spot here probably can't fit that roundabout, you know? Like later I'll probably be adjusting this intersection in just a minute. So you're probably saying, how can I build my own custom roundabout? And I'd like to get you on the path to greatness there. So we're going to go in. We're going to select our 2-lane one-way road. This is a vanilla road, comes with the game. You're also going to select curved road down here. So you're going to initially, if you're really new to the game, hit roads, build a basic road so you unlock all your roads, and then you've got this. You've got this. You can start a city this way. Like if you take your initial interchange, I don't have a good example of, if you take your initial interchange, you could start a city with a roundabout, but I don't recommend doing that. Please feel free to not do that. Because once you start putting a lot of buildings in, the highway connection is absolutely going to get decimated. So I guess rule 1 with a roundabout is don't make your sole highway connection hinged by a roundabout. Because once you have high density buildings over somewhere, it's going to be super messy. It's going to be bad. So initially to build a roundabout, we've got our road here. We've got our curved road tool. I'm going to pick an amount. If I ever say this roundabout is a 5x5 roundabout, then that means that we've done 5x5 as one of the quadrants. So it goes around as 5x5 and so on and so forth. If I were to do a 7x7, same rules apply. I'd be going up to 7 units. And you'll notice here, if you don't have precision engineering, if you have a PC and you're playing on Steam, that little number that you see there, the 4, 5, 6 in the center of the screen, that's called precision engineering. If you don't have that, it's okay. You can actually use the lines as your guide. So the line here is 10 units. The halfway point is 5 units. 4 units, that line disappears. So even if you don't have precision engineering, you can still accurately count the number of clicks effectively. So I like a 7x7 a lot of the time. Let's envision a 7x7 roundabout. So 7 units there, by 7 units there with the curved road tool, by 7 units, by 7 units, by 7 units. And you'll notice that if you have road guidelines turned on, each of these lines up with an already existing road, so it's kind of nice. And that is a perfect circle. That's as perfect a circle as you can build in City Skylines. So there's your roundabout. That's the video over. We're done. You did it. No, you should probably connect some roads to it, right? If you want to build a roundabout in an already existing space, which is probably even more likely, you can start with a set of roads. Like let's say there's an intersection here. Let's say maybe we'll do 30 units by 30 units or so. Where's the midway point here? So 15 units, just about there. Yep, 15 units. So I just want to make an intersection. This is just some sort of arterial road intersection. And I say, oof, this is way too busy. It's looking kind of like it's looking like this over here, right? It's looking like this scenario. Too wild. It needs a traffic light, but a traffic light may get backed up. And if that backs up to the highway, you're in trouble. So there's not that much traffic, but it's bad enough that it could get bad. I would say, starting from the middle, count up to where you want your roundabout to begin. If you want a 7x7, you'll be able to count from the center out to a point, and you can double check that 7x7. So we're 7 units. Our radius has been established. We've just decided our radius, right? So 7 units. We're going to do 7 units and repeat the same process. Unfortunately, this is going to require anarchy. How about this? Just so we don't need to use road anarchy to break the rules, I'll do an 8x8 instead. It looks like that's what the game would want in vanilla. So we'll go with 8x8 in this instance. You can do the same thing, but you just have to pick your radius first from the center of the intersection, and then delete the roads in the middle, and you've done it. You built a roundabout, and right now you're thinking, that's wonderful. I built a roundabout, but the cars will still do weird things at the intersections, and crazy stuff is going to happen. There's no lights here, I don't think. No, I don't see any lights occurring. But it does help to turn off lights in a roundabout. You don't really need lights, is part of the trick. It's actually super easy. If you're playing with mods, I'm just going to throw this out there. Traffic Manager President Edition. Right here. We're going to go into the interface. This is so easy that it's a joke. Click priority signs, hold Shift over the road, and then hold Control, and automatically the roundabout is set up. And I'll tell you what's happened here, really. What we've done with this roundabout is it pulls from your roundabout settings in the settings menu automatically. So I've got it set up to where there's no crosswalks in the roundabout. That's what these little icons are. So all the intersections have crosswalks removed. No one's allowed to change lanes in the intermediate areas, or in the, how would you describe these? There are nodes here, whether you can see them or not. There's nodes. And usually cars can change lanes at those nodes. But if you're using Traffic Manager in the way that I am, it automatically sets it up so they can't change lanes at the node. So they end up changing lanes at the intersection, which is fine, because the next element is the yield. In law, in roundabout law, much like maritime law, you have to yield before entering the roundabout. So if there's traffic in the roundabout already, you have to stop and wait for them to go by. Some people call it a give way sign. I think that's the European way, maybe. But we call it a yield. I assume it's the same shape everywhere. If not, good luck, have fun. I have no idea what you're going to do. If it's a different shape, good luck. But yeah, so you give way, you yield for the traffic that's in the roundabout already. Nobody can cross to the center, once again. If you build a park in the middle of a roundabout, you're going to want to build some sort of path over it or around it or something like that. But this is the general idea. This is the gist. Of course, you can upgrade this. Let's say an alternate scenario would be you have like a 6-lane road. What if we have a 6-lane road? I do like the 6-lane road with median. Medians are really nice coming up to a roundabout when it comes to detailing and such. Or we can do it without a median. It could be different types of roads. Who knows? Who cares? I still like the one with the median. Looks a little nicer. So we've got all these roads approaching, and suddenly we've got 3 lanes of traffic turning into a 2-lane roundabout. In this situation, if you have access to network extensions too, I would recommend switching it to the 3-lane one-way roundabout, because now you can utilize all 3 of these lanes. And really, one more thing. I've done the math. I've crunched the numbers. No matter how many lanes are approaching the roundabout, what's really important is that the number of lanes in the roundabout are 1 less than the number of exits. Okay? I'll say that again, but differently. The number of exits, the number of roads approaching the roundabout, or mainly the roads coming off the roundabout, there should be 1 less road in the roundabout. And you might be wondering why. I had to really wrap my noodle around this to get this going. But the way that this ends up working is the right lane as you enter this roundabout is only for exiting here. Part of Traffic Manager is that it becomes a right turn only. Now this can turn to wherever it wants to within these 3 lanes. But this is a right turn only. So you're turning off if you're in this lane. You have to. Just like in our roundabout example over here, which I kind of detailed up, this is you're forced to turn right. They change lanes here to turn right, you know? So with this thing, you're coming in. If you're in the right lane, you're getting off at this exit. If you're in the center lane, you can't change lanes here because of it automatically adds a lane connector rule there. So you can't change lanes here, which means you have to change lanes here. And if you're changing lanes here, the traffic simulation will only let you go to the outside because there's no reason to go to the inside of this. There's no reason to, once you're in the roundabout, you're either starting in the far left lane, but you will never get there within the roundabout. Bit of a confusing explanation. I don't have notes. This is all off the cuff. So the game lets the vehicles change lanes only in no man's land here, only at the next interchange. So let's say our car goes from the 3rd lane. Let's see what that means. The right lane is this one. The center lane is exiting up here. So we're going halfway around the roundabout. The 3rd lane is sticking it out for the entire time through the center of the roundabout and exiting here. I'll show you why right now. So the traffic approaches. This lane only turns to here. It goes around. It changes lanes here because it has to. The game literally forces traffic to go out an exit, to go out a lane, rather. They're in the center lane now. When they hit this node, which now we're halfway around, when they hit this node, they go to the outer lane. And now, because they're in the outer lane, they have to exit. So predetermined, the whole thing, because of these locked-in lanes here, and because of these lane arrows, the cars all pick their lane initially, and whatever lane they start in, it determines where they're going to exit. And that keeps things moving slowly. Just in this example over here, here's the miniature 2-lane version of that, where the traffic, if they're in the middle lane, they're either exiting here, probably most of the traffic does, or they're exiting over here. If they're in the right lane, they have an easy pass here. This truck is guaranteed to take the right lane and exit here. It has to. There's no other way. Some of the traffic in here, because it's a 2-lane roundabout, some of it will stick it out and continue on around, and then they'll have to exit over here, or maybe they're coming all the way back to this way. I guess that could happen. I don't really know why, but usually they won't use roundabouts for turning around as long as the rest of your road network is good. So the right-hand traffic leaves immediately. The center traffic is going over to here or over to here. It's even more locked in with a 3-lane roundabout, and I'll illustrate this a little bit better in just a moment. But these are really, really good if you want to eliminate traffic generally in a non-highway scenario. So if you have a non-highway level of traffic, a roundabout can probably handle it, sometimes better than a 4-way intersection, because of the lack of conflicts. So let's build a roundabout and implement it properly with cars running through it, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. Well, would you look at that? Look what we have here. That's not a roundabout, but it is the way that this intersection used to look that is now converted into a roundabout. So look at this. We're coming off the highway here. We've got our highway interchange. And then this, which used to be a very messy kind of lighted interchange, or unlighted, but should have had a light interchange, is now a roundabout, which is really, really good. I want to show you the evolution of this roundabout. Next, I want to get pedestrians out of the crosswalks, because that's a very nasty hazard for the cars. So I'm going to do that with pedestrian paths. Well, would you look at that? Look at this. We got pedestrians and bikers off the ground. We've turned off the crosswalks here in the intersections, so now not only are pedestrians and cyclists not crossing to the center of the roundabout, because there's nothing in the middle to cross to really, they are not crossing at the front of the roundabout either. So all these intersections are clear for vehicles to traverse as necessary, and we're keeping these guys separated. So if the intersection's really that serious, you probably don't want pedestrians crossing in it. And this is very popular. This is connecting this neighborhood to this neighborhood. So this is a very popular walking path, so we want to keep that intact. So I built a bunch of paths here. It's good. Now, you'll probably notice that as vehicles go to exit, they have to slow down quite a lot. So as they're coming into the highway, let's follow the journey of one of our trucks here. So they have to slow down, the truck especially. Look at this guy. They have to slow down to get on the road here. Bit of a nasty turn. Then they speed up, and then they have to slow down again to exit, which is pretty gnarly. Not too great, but there's a mod that actually fixes that. There's a mod that you can use that will actually smooth that out. You used to have to build 2 totally separate roads with the node system, which is not very realistic. You shouldn't really have to build 2 entirely separate roads to pull this off. So now with one road, this is brand new. What month is it? It's October currently, October 2020. This came out maybe 1 or 2 it came to my attention 1 or 2 months ago. This is called Node Controller. And you can actually do what's called it's called corner offset here. You can smooth the junction so vehicles can take a much easier approach to getting to it. So I'm just going to turn all these to like 25. Like, look at that. They're already exiting so much faster. I'm going to go to all sides here, and I'm going to turn them all up to 25. Which is, it might be even too much. It's not, actually. If you look at it, that doesn't look bad. There's no markings in any of the intersections when I do this. We'll fix that in a moment with another surprise reveal, but by cranking these to 25, now you'll notice vehicles have a nice smooth turn to get into the roundabout, and they can exit pretty quickly as well. It just makes the process a little smoother. Of course, you should slow down if you're approaching a roundabout. In reality, you should absolutely slow down. Like in real life, you're going to be yielding here. So there's a certain amount of slowness that occurs, and I'm sure the speed limit within the roundabout, I'll check it with Traffic Manager. 40 is actually super fast. I'm going to turn it down to 30 when they're in the actual roundabout itself, because there's no reason to go 40 through a roundabout of this size. This is a small roundabout for 40 miles per hour. But the corners are now easy. So they're still yielding before they come in, but they can make that corner very smoothly because we've changed the smoothness. But as a result of using that mod and increasing the smoothness, we now have these large empty areas. So next, I'm going to seek to remedy that. Here we have the example over here. I did a bit of what's called Interchange marking tool. I'm going to try to perform similar magic over here, and we will see how it comes out in just a moment. And there we go. This is the completed product as far as like the markings go, keeping pedestrians out of the way. Intersection marking tool, guys, really powerful. Definitely, I'm going to have to do its own video to do it justice, but you can see how what were formerly kind of no man's land sort of areas, now we've drawn the lines in so that traffic knows where to go, entering traffic, and it knows that it's about to cross into this lane, and it knows, and visually for us, we can see what's going on in the roundabout really, really well right now. You can see that the traffic will always cross over to the next lane here. You can see these white areas like nobody's going to drive on them. It's essentially an extension. This is good. It's an extension of the median, basically. It would be really cool if I could set this up to be just another curb, because that's effectively what it is. But yeah, so you can see it's illustrated. The traffic goes around. It's always losing one lane going towards the outside. Comes in 3 lanes. Whatever lane it starts in is where it's going to finish. The right lane is a right turn. The center lane is straight. The left lane amounts to a left turn from the highway. I think that looks pretty good. There's one more level of roundabout that I'd like to share with you guys. Stick around for this one. This one's going to be a little bit uniqueier and a little bit differentier from this. I'll be back in just a second. So here is the final concept that I want to introduce when it comes to roundabouts. There's one more thing that I can think of beyond this, but it's more of an interchange. It deserves like an interchange highway video. But this is I would call it an overpass roundabout. You know? I think that's what I'd call it. So this is the vanilla overpass mod, which I did a previous video about. It's somewhat of a misnomer. It's called vanilla overpass. And the way it works is you can see here, we've got a road that splits off from this grade here, from this section, and cars are allowed to turn right into this middle lane, or say come off the highway just like this fella. If they want to miss the roundabout entirely and skip right on over to the industrial zone, like a lot of the traffic does, so I'd like to give them a priority option if that's what they need, you know? But then for everyone else, it works just like a roundabout. So it's a roundabout with this priority lane to keep people, to keep certain vehicles out of the roundabout, to stop it from getting overdone. This sort of thing would be useful over here. Maybe? Maybe not. So the deal is, I think you should look at how much traffic is coming from a certain direction and where it's going. If you know for sure, like on this one, I'm pretty sure that much of the straight through traffic is going directly to this industrial area from the highway. So that's a pretty direct route there. So we've given them a priority lane. Everybody else, just like a regular roundabout. So down here, I think a lot of them are actually turning right. So they don't really need the overpass to turn right. Like vanilla overpass, this style of ramp is really best used for a straightaway, in my opinion. There's exceptions to everything. For everything I say, take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a pound of salt. As much salt as you want. Take it with some amount of salt, because I'm probably wrong to some degree. But the way that I use it, it's usually a straight shot over top. With that said, you can also make interchanges with roundabouts. You know, you could implement 2 roads crossing one another and then a roundabout to help distribute the traffic between the two. Roundabouts can also be somewhat oval in shape or dog bone in shape. That helps with the interchange situation. But yeah, I'm happy with what we've done here. So we started with our basic roundabout over here. Just 4 lanes all around into 2 lanes in the middle. That's fine. Drew an example, which went away. Then we've got this, which I would call our standard roundabout. This is our standard large roundabout. It's a 3-lane roundabout. And then this one is the small roundabout, but with a priority lane so that this can stay small. Otherwise, this would need to be upgraded to a larger size, which isn't great. But all the other rules apply. Plus vanilla overpass mod. Guys, thank you for checking out this video. My name is Yumble. I stream on Twitch at least 2 days a week, sometimes more. I don't build a ton of roundabouts in my city, but when I do, I try to use them concisely. I try to use them with a purpose. What else? Feel free to join the Discord if you'd like. A lot of good information in the Discord, or if you're looking for a direct way to reach out to get more information on this stuff, I'd be happy to help. Guys, I've been Yumble. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.